Tallahassee, Florida. It was a quiet evening when people started to gather at Cascades Park. Families arrived slowly, holding candles, flowers, and framed photos. The air was heavy with sadness. People didn't speak much. They just stood together in the glow of candlelight, mourning a young girl taken far too soon. One neighbor, her voice barely above a whisper, said to a reporter, "She was only 12. She didn't deserve this." That girl's name was Lori Paige, and this is her story. Lori was a 12-year-old student at Griffin Middle School in Tallahassee. Her teachers said she was bright, polite, and always ready to learn. She wasn't the loudest in the room, but she had a calm presence that people remembered. Her classmates said she was sweet, always offering to share snacks or help someone who was struggling with homework. Lori loved reading fantasy books and watching cartoons on the weekends. She was the kind of child who would write thank you notes to her teachers and who always brought her friends little handmade gifts. Lori lived a quiet life with her father, Andrew Wiley. To people on the outside, their life seemed simple and stable. Lori walked to school, played in the yard, and helped her dad with chores around the house. Andrew Wiley was known around the neighborhood as someone who mostly kept to himself. He worked night shifts, usually alone. People said he didn't talk much, but he seemed like a regular parent, taking Lori to school events, showing up at the store with her. There was no obvious sign that anything was wrong. No police reports, no complaints. Just a father and daughter trying to get by. But that's what makes this story so difficult, because sometimes the truth hides behind closed doors, and people suffer in silence. On June 3, 2023, Andrew called the police and said Lori was missing. He claimed she had packed a small bag, left a note, and ran away during the night while he was working. It was strange, but not unheard of. Police opened a missing persons case and started looking. Flyers went up across town. Her photo was shared on social media and local news. "Have you seen Lori Paige?" Her face flashed across the screen, with a photo of her smiling gently in a school picture. But as the days passed, there were no leads, no sightings, no messages. Lori's phone had gone silent. At school, Lori's teachers were devastated. Some of them said they couldn't stop thinking about her empty desk. Her art teacher kept one of Lori's unfinished drawings pinned to a corkboard, unable to take it down. Kids at school asked where she was and why she hadn't come back. Counselors were brought in to talk to students, and teachers tried to keep things as normal as possible. But the hole Lori left was impossible to ignore. Parents in the area became more cautious, checking in with their kids more often and keeping them close. Police began digging deeper. They looked at Andrew Wiley's phone and computer. What they found started to raise alarm bells. Before Lori disappeared, Andrew had searched online for remote areas, lakes, and wooded places in Georgia and Alabama. He also looked up ways to hide or cover things in the woods. These searches happened days before he ever called 911. Investigators began to question everything. Was Lori really missing, or had something worse happened? Detectives asked Andrew to come in for questioning. They noticed he avoided certain questions, changed his timeline, and didn't seem genuinely worried. He claimed Lori left a note, but never gave it to police. He said he waited 2 days to call 911 because he thought she would come back, but something didn't add up. Why would a 12-year-old girl leave home alone in the middle of the night? Why did she take nothing but a backpack? Why was there no sign of her anywhere? Police believed Andrew Wiley was hiding something. The investigation stretched on for nearly 2 years. Police searched forests, rivers, and fields across Florida and Georgia. They used dogs, drones, and search parties. They spoke to family members, school officials, and neighbors. Some people said they noticed changes in Lori before she disappeared. She became quieter, more withdrawn. She stopped drawing as much. She didn't smile like she used to, but no one suspected this kind of ending. Police continued gathering evidence. But they still hadn't found Lori's body. Without it, they couldn't make an arrest. Prosecutors were hesitant to move forward until they had proof of what happened. Then, in April 2025, a major break finally came. In Thomas County, Georgia, a fire crew was doing a prescribed burn in a thickly wooded area. This was land that had been searched before, but it was too overgrown to get through. As the smoke cleared and the underbrush burned away, something was found: a set of remains. After testing, the results came back. It was Lori Paige. Her remains had been hidden in that forest for nearly 2 years. She had never run away. She had never left on her own. The next day, Tallahassee police arrested Andrew Wiley. He was charged with second-degree murder. The community was stunned. Some people couldn't believe it. Others said they suspected it all along. Prosecutors stated that Andrew had misled investigators, delayed the search, and tried to cover up the truth. They said the evidence on his devices, the location of Lori's body, and the timeline of events all pointed back to him. The arrest made headlines statewide. The grief poured out. Vigils were held again. People gathered in parks, schoolyards, and churches to remember Lori. At one event, her teacher said, "She was such a gentle soul. The kind of kid who made the room better just by being there." Lori's friends cried, holding hands and reading poems they wrote for her. Parents hugged their children a little tighter. Everyone wanted to know why. Why would a father do something like this? What really happened in that house? Tallahassee Police Chief Lawrence Revel spoke at a press conference. He confirmed that they had suspected foul play for a long time, but they needed to find Lori's body to move forward. "We never gave up," he said, "not one day. We were always working to bring her home." He thanked the officers, the community, and the family members who helped during the investigation. "This case hurt all of us," he said, "but we promised to bring Lori justice." But before the case could go to trial, something unexpected happened. Just weeks after his arrest, Andrew Wiley died in jail. A medical report showed that he had a pulmonary embolism, a blood clot in his lungs. It was ruled a natural cause. No foul play, no suicide, just a sudden medical event that ended his life. But with his death, the case ended. There would be no trial, no confession, no chance to ask him what happened. For Lori's loved ones, it felt like justice slipped through their fingers once again. People are left with questions that may never be answered. What was Lori going through before she vanished? Did anyone miss the signs? Could something have been done sooner? The truth is, sometimes the people closest to us are the ones who hide the most. And sometimes, children suffer in silence because they don't know who to turn to. Lori Paige's story is heartbreaking. It's painful. But it's also important because her story reminds us why we must always listen, why we must always speak up, and why every child's life is worth protecting. Lori Paige was more than a headline. She was a student, a daughter, and a friend. She liked drawing. She loved learning. She had dreams. She mattered. And her story should never be forgotten. If this video touched you, please share it. Help keep Lori's memory alive. Support child safety programs in your area. And be a voice for those who may not have one. We may never know the full truth about what happened, but we can honor her by making sure it never happens again.